Hello and welcome to the HollyHood Zoomcast, episode number 15. Happy New Year. My name is Aji Manj, Asante Goodman.
Greg Goodman, aka Good.
Smallwood Worldwide. What's up?
T Goodman, Skippo Champ.
Wow, this is the second time in a row that we've actually gotten the intros right. Skippo Champ. Shout out to him. Hey, shout out to Broccoli, he's not here. Shout out to Jason, he's not here. Oh, shout out to Sidney Portier, R.I.P. Rest in peace. It's more than an actor, just like I'm more than an athlete. We'll continue on. I didn't just forget it anyway. So, normally what we do here, we do movie reviews. You come here for all your entertainment. We come do movie reviews. We do top fives of different genres of movies, but we decided to change it up. Instead of doing a best of 2021 like some of these suckers do around here, we decided to go different routes and just do the best of the break, since that, in between Christmas break and New Year's and all that stuff, people just sat at home and watched movies because of the Omarion. So, because the Omarion was out here popping off, everybody got a chance to watch 1,000 movies. I know I did. I know other people did. So, we wanted to talk about what was the best of the break. And for that, I want to get into first, let's just talk about some of the movies that we did see. Who wants to go first? Or I can.
Just go ahead and set it off, man.
Okay, good. So, a couple of the ones that I saw that were really good. 8-Bit Christmas was dope. I got a chance to see the new Matrix. I got a chance to see Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3. I got a chance to see Don't Look Up was another one that came out. I also watched some series. I finished BMF. If you haven't seen BMF, you need to. Team Meech. Let's see, what else did I watch? I got a chance to just watch so much stuff. Wrath of Man, that's an older movie, but I think it's an older movie, even though it came out that year. Got to see a couple other movies that I can't think of off the top of my head. Actually, for the first time, I saw Miracle on 34th Street the entire way through for the first time. And it was a pretty good movie. I also saw a couple other older movies that weren't. Why you orc facing?
I hate Miracle on 34th.
Anyway, so like I was saying, I saw that. We saw a lot of Christmas movies. Of course, The Christmas Story. Everybody watches The Christmas Story over Christmas break. A couple other ones as well, but it was that off the top of my head, that's all I can think of right now. There was another one that was like really good that I saw. Don't Look Up. Don't Look Up was crazy. Yeah, so there were some other ones, but those are some of the ones that I saw. Greg, what kind did you see?
Yeah, about the same as you. I watched the 8-Bit Christmas joint. That was pretty good. Watched that with the fam. Don't Look Up, of course. I'm suspecting we'll get into that later, so I'm not gonna go into it right now. But super dope. I saw the new Matrix joint. It's alright.
Yo, save your opinions. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I also went and I started watching one series that I started before and had to go back and finish. Space Force. I watched that joint.
Oh, Cobra Kai. Also, I watched Cobra Kai.
I'm in the middle of that now. Oh yeah.
I like to save those Cobra Kai for like special occasions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like to hold back on that one. Watch all that nerd on nerd violence. That's crazy. Oh, True Detective. I went back and watched the first season of that joint.
Ooh. Hey, arguably one of the best one seasons of all time. I would say top 5, one singular season of all time.
And I went back and decided to do something a little different that I normally do. Like normally, they have like there's movies, there's sequels, prequels, and all that other stuff. So there was 2 sets of movies where I went back and watched all of them in the order that they supposedly happened. So I went back and watched all of the Aliens movies. From Prometheus to Aliens 2. I didn't watch Aliens 3 because it stinks. And
okay.
Hannibal joints too. And that joint, the Hannibal joints, real sleepers, man. Like every last one of those movies is really, really good. Like really good. So I was just, I was pleasantly surprised by that. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and I got 2 things lined up that I'm trying to. One I ain't got to get mentally prepared for. The other one I'm fine with. I've decided I'm just gonna watch Rocky from Rocky 1 all the way to Creed 2. Just basically watch Rocky, a young goofball, a young broke goofball, to an old broke goofball, basically.
Okay.
Watch his whole life. I'm gonna watch Rocky's whole life and enjoy that. And the other one that I'm sure is gonna put me to sleep.
Wow.
Is I'm gonna try and watch the whole Lord of the Rings stories from all the Hobbits straight on through to the Lord of the Rings, to when they finally get that ring in that volcano. And
you got to go the other way, man. You got to start with Lord of the Rings, otherwise you'll never.
Look,
Frodo should have been on the dirtbag. But me and TJ were talking about it. Frodo should have been on the dirtbag.
He should have.
Oh, Frodo is scum.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, man, Frodo, he's not his uncle. I'll just say that. So if you start with his uncle, you're not gonna be able to get through the first Lord of the Rings movie. You're just not.
Nah.
Look, I'm just saying, I want to see the story broken down in the order that it's supposed to be in. And I was gonna try and do the same thing with Star Wars, but
Don't do it.
I started watching episode 1, and that little
Jar Jar.
dragonfish thing, what the fuck is that thing?
Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Jinx.
I like to call them racism.
I had to stop it and regroup, and instead I watched Weird Science.
Not a bad choice.
That'll work.
Not a bad choice at all. Not a bad choice at all.
Like I said, my thing with going back and watching old 80s movies, I'm just like, yo, the moral compass back then was so loose. It was just, it was ridiculous, the things that I saw there. Like, you could not pull off that movie in that way now.
Never. No.
They boycotting it. People will be upset. So that's what I did.
Weird Science is a classic, though. That's a no slander movie.
I just think about them trying to do it today. They couldn't pull it off. The only way they could pull it off is if they made it a cartoon.
But I would love to see it redone today, the exact same way, with every joke in it, every angle in it, and just see what the reaction would be. I know what some folks' reaction would be, but I still would love to see it.
Yeah,
so many of the movies is
it
like
would
that.
be more realistic today because those computers could actually do that now.
Yeah. You do a 3D computer, have a 3D computer with it.
Man, had a Mac, the original Macintosh and a Casio keyboard made a whole woman. Like, it was amazing.
Yo, where they missed is that they didn't have the Zapp and Roger computer love joint somewhere. That's where they missed. That's the only miss.
Yeah.
Other than that, they
added that to make that new.
They should boom, boom, do 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 do. That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one. Hey, yo, Antwon, what did you watch over the break?
Oh, wow. A little bit of everything. So my list doesn't even kind of begin to touch with it because I was literally watching around the clock. So I watched King Richard. I went back and watched World War Z because I've never seen it. I've seen it in pieces, but I never watched it start to finish with Brad Pitt. I saw The Matrix Resurrections, Red Notice with The Rock, Gal Gadot.
I saw that too. Yeah. Oh yeah, I enjoyed
it. Bruised, Jackie Justice with Halle Berry, because I like some of the UFC fighting stuff. That was an interesting story. Spider-Man No Way Home, for me, a phenomenal. I loved it. Don't Look Up, another one, phenomenal. I know we'll talk about that. That was great. I watched the True Story thing with Kevin Hart and Wesley Snipes. I
watched that joint too. That joint was dope.
I had to stop it after episode 3. I was like, this is putting me in a bad place, bro. I had to stop that joint. I was like, yo, I gotta put on something that's gonna make me feel better. Let me put this BMF on.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
So the only bad thing about True Story is I literally figured out exactly what happened after the first episode. Like, I knew where this was all leading to. I don't know if y'all have seen it yet, but yeah. Yeah. I knew exactly what happened, and I was just like, scum.
I didn't know to the extent, but I was on that same path as you, that I felt like I knew exactly what happened. But when I saw it, I was like, wow.
I wasn't. I was like, yeah, it's typical.
I gotta come back and revisit something with you, Antwon, while you're still going through your list, because I took some of your recommendations from the action movie joints and watched some of those, like Tomorrow War and Army of the Dead. So I'm gonna come back to that though.
Yeah, Tomorrow War, yeah, Spikers. So I went back. So normally I've been in an MCU heavy with a la Spider-Man, Thanos, all of that. But I wanted to go back because I was watching The Witcher season 2. I like Henry Cavill, and so I was going back, and I was like, to me, he was like one of the better Superman out there. And I didn't recall Man of Steel back in 2013, so I went back and watched it, and I was like, why did this movie get so much hell when it dropped? Like, it was pretty good to me. Yeah. And General Zod, I forget homeboy's name. He's a phenomenal actor. He always does it up. I mean, it was just the way they brought the story full circle. I was like, he deserved another movie. And then that took me down a rabbit hole, and so I watched Batman versus Superman. And so I thought at first. It is. And when you figure out the comic book angle, and I was like, oh shit, they brought this to life. Like, I got it, because at the time I didn't really, understand where it was coming from. I just thought, Zack Snyder was losing his mind. And so when I sat down and really got a chance to watch it, I was like, this is pretty freaking good. So yeah, won't take over it, but I watched a lot of movies, a lot.
I think that the MCU really screwed over DC because of the way that they had joined all of their stories. Like DC was still doing stuff singularly, I think. And when they merged everything, they tried to make it similar to them. It's like, so you're copying and you're not doing it as well. So people just kind of dismissed it. And it's like, but if you take them as single movies, I always thought that they stood up pretty well on their own. But the Zack Snyder Justice League joint, that's 4 hours, that joint's tough.
It is. I tried to tell people that one is real tough. And especially when you go back and look at the ones they dropped, the original Wonder Woman, not 1984, but the original one they dropped, look at the original Aquaman that came out with Jason Momoa. I mean, it holds up well.
Yeah, Jason Momoa was all right on that joint.
Indeed.
Yeah, Mimosa was doing his thing, man, No, I'm just playing. I'm just mad because he's with Lisa Bonet. Anyway, go ahead, TJ, what did you watch over the break?
Man, I wish my list was as good as you guys' list. A lot of stuff that you guys mentioned, I meant to get around to. Like, for example, I went back and I watched the first 3 Matrix movies, but I never got around to watching Resurrections. Right? I saw like maybe a piece of it, but I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing. I did some series.
Wait, I gotta ask you, did it put you to sleep, the first part?
The first part of the Resurrections?
Yeah.
Well, disclosure.
I asked because I fell asleep twice trying to get through it the first time.
Yeah, full disclosure, I had the movie on. I mean, I saw some of it. It wasn't work that made me not see the whole thing. But I started it late at night. So Keanu, if you're out there, man, no offense, man.
You woke up and spoiled the ending for yourself. Like, oh. Man.
Thankfully, no. It wasn't one of them never-ending story type things where you start the movie and then you see like maybe 5 minutes and you wake up with that big dog looking thing flying or I'm talking about. Never talking about the thing, but anyway, so
hold on a second, TJ, before you go on, that should actually be a show. Who has actually seen the end of Never Ending Story? Because I don't know anybody who's ever seen the end of that joint. I don't know.
I know people have seen it. I don't know anyone who's seen the middle of it.
Yeah.
So
people that
y'all know.
And I know people that have seen the end. They can't tell me shit about the 45 minutes in between those parts. Nobody knows.
Here's the crazy thing. People that have told me that they made it through the movie, or people that have made it through the movie, like if you show a little clip of the movie, they don't recognize it. So it's like, did you really make it through? I mean, I guess they did. Maybe it just wasn't memorable. It probably just wasn't memorable. But
you take away the flying dog, they don't know what they're watching.
There must be something really loud that happens right before that, because everybody wakes up right
song.
there, right? Is that song?
That song is like an alarm clock.
Yo, let me not. Hold on, man. Greg, I'm sorry, man.
Like alarm clock and like minute 15 is like a creepy roof and all. It's just.
Yo, I derailed the show, man. I'm sorry, TJ, man. Go on with your list, man. I apologize.
Oh, you good, man? You good? I was just, kind of complaining that I didn't get a chance to get around to a lot of that stuff you guys mentioned. 8-Bit Christmas somehow was gone before I got a chance to watch it. I mean, I thought it would be out there for at least a couple months, so I didn't get a chance to watch that. Spider-Man, I didn't get a chance to watch, which I wanted to see. But I did, I watched some series and stuff. Cobra Kai, I did get to see. Aces, always a great watch. I finally got around to watching the last season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. That was funny.
Hilarious. Yeah, I watched that too.
And then, I like...
real talk. JB Smooth is going to be... He's like the new John Witherspoon.
Yeah,
that's a good comp. That's a good comp.
He was funny, man. When he was talking about that fat dude on the roof, he says, hey, he's FAT positive. I don't trust my ice cream balls around or whatever. I was like, yeah, he just cracked me up, man. That show was true.
He was a fool.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
He went to Norfolk State, funny enough.
Did he now?
Yeah, he did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he went to that high school on the other side of Hampton, Yo, shout out to HBCU. All right, TJ, go ahead.
But besides the series, because I watched a bunch of more series over the break than movies. But some of the movies that I did watch that stood out to me, I listed them out. I listed 5 of them out for you guys. Maybe you've seen them too. An Inspector Calls. I don't know if you guys have seen that. No.
Never even heard of that one.
Okay. Raven. It's got my boy John Cusack in it.
Seen that. That's good.
I enjoyed that.
That joint, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It had a lot of From Hell in it, the way that it was done. It reminded me of that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it though. A Perfect Murder, which was an older movie with Michael Douglas. That was really good. I had never seen it. I was looking for The Game, which also somehow is no longer out there.
Yo, that was on there for a long time.
I know. As soon as I went to go see it, it was gone, man. I felt so robbed, man. Everything that I wanted to see got ripped away. And the last 2 that I'll mention, one was Synchronic with Anthony Mackie. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No, I
seen it. I heard of it.
Yeah, I heard of it.
Yeah, it was interesting. The ending was, it didn't leave a great taste.
Anytime I watch Anthony Mackie, he got to be either rapping or a superhero. Like, I can't watch anything in between that.
Well, he
Papa
was
Doc or
heroic.
Saving the World.
He was heroic, but he wasn't a superhero.
He said Papa Doc.
That's right, he was. That's messing with was it B-Rabbit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, my boy B-Rabbit.
The last one I'll mention is Unthinkable.
With Samuel L.
Yeah,
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, that was actually, I think, the best one that I saw over the break. That was really good. That was really good.
That was the one where he was the interrogator, right?
Yeah. That was a solid movie.
He had Trinity in there. Trinity was in that too, right?
Sure was.
Yeah. I remember that. That was a tough movie. It's a real tough movie. So let me get back to some stuff. So we can talk about our beefs with some of these, man. Let me start off though. Let me clear the area. So, as I do sometimes, I'll go back and watch some of the episodes that we dropped, just because I remember stuff that was certain things that were entertaining that we were talking about. So I went back and watched the action one, which was very, very funny. But one of the things that popped out was like how Antwon kept throwing out these newer movies, and I was like, I did want to see these movies. So I saw Tomorrow War. I hit him up before. He already knows what I'm going to say about Tomorrow War. But I saw Tomorrow War, which was a good movie. I thought it was narrow, and what I mean by that is it's like the same 8 guys, were the same 8 guys that do the same. You know what I mean? It was just kind of weird how I was like, they didn't find another 8 guys to go do this. And then I was like, so wait, let me see. They flew into Russia with no one knowing it. No one noticing? Like the Russians didn't notice that they flew into Russia on a J.K. Simmons Cessna, and no one noticed that they flew into Russia. I was just, they had me until then. But
I gotta bring one thing that I watched that we may have to discuss again. I watched Red Dawn, the original joint. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you how I feel about it as an adult now. So it was great when I was a kid. Oh Jesus! But now, oh, what a train wreck there.
Yo, wasn't Patrick Swayze in that joint?
Yeah, Patrick Swayze.
It was.
Oh, Tiger Blood Charlie.
Yo,
The girl that slept with Howard the Duck. I forget her name.
oh, Leah Thompson.
Yeah.
Oh, the other one that I had, I didn't have okay, so I had a beef. I have a Greg type beef with Army of the Dead. And that
True.
is,
I got to hear it.
Yo, you want to talk about, like, yo, Batista's daughter was trash, yo.
Yeah, no, absolutely. She's gargantuan trash.
She ruined the whole thing for me.
Wait,
Would have fed her to the zombies.
How was that a beef?
Huh?
How was that a Greg type beef?
Your beef Taking. You don't remember?
Oh,
Yo,
okay. No.
So,
Remember from the
so Greg for Taking, for just to recap for those way back in the year of 2021, Greg was like, Taking would be higher on my list, but his goofy daughter was on there. I was like, God, that seems kind of hard. And then I saw Army of the Dead. I was like, this guy's daughter's goofy as hell, man. I can't. This goofy chick, man. Like, so,
because they could have got a. Man,
I was really angry. I was like, yo, what would possess you to go into? First of all, she made them take her in there. Then she breaks from the group. I mean, it's just.
Sounds frustrating.
she was the cause of so much problems in that movie. So I've watched. Full disclosure, I've seen the movie 8 times, right? And so I watched it a different time. There's a lot of different things you pick up that they kind of designed it that way. And so I'm sitting there like, wait, the daughter's trash each time though. Like,
yeah.
And every time I see it, she's the only character who gets worse. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
They were this close. Like,
My man,
yeah.
No. My man's was trash. He was locking the doors and stuff. I was like, yo, this obvious dude is sabotaging, man.
You saw him when he took the lights and was like throwing them in the wrong.
Yeah, yo, that was another thing. Old girl like was mega tough, yo. I was like, I expected her to die a long time before that, and she fought it out, man. But those were my movies where I watched them and had like not beef, but I wanted to talk to them because we talked about them before. Is there anyone else got any other movies like that?
No, I didn't see that yet. At least that's the new. It's a newer, right? It's not the old joint.
Oh yeah, that's new.
I ain't seen it.
So I got a beef with that in Don't Look Up, and I got a beef with it in King Richard, but in a different kind of way.
Oh,
I ain't
boy.
seen King Richard yet.
You haven't seen King Richard?
Look, I'm gonna tell you. Let me explain to you why. All right. First off, I'm the one who pointed this movie out to my family. Okay, and they were like, "We need to watch it together." As you know, I got 2 daughters, so I'm like, "Yeah, let's watch King Richard together." Turns out that they are too busy, doing stuff. They got no time, so I haven't watched it yet. And I was about to watch it. They're like, "Don't watch it without us." That was like a month and a half ago.
That was a delightful story, Greg. That was real great that you threw your daughters under the bus for not watching the movie. That's just fantastic.
Hey, look. They got lives and such. Like, I can't keep with people that got things to do in their life. You know what I'm saying? They got friends and places to go. I have none of these things.
Yeah, yo, you forget how it is when you're a teenager. You're like, yo, where are you going? It's like out. It's like out. What does that mean?
Out where? Where are you going?
Like I've never seen 2 people so busy in my life. But now, I go back and think about me at 14. I'm not trying to sit around and watch King Richard. Not when I can go out and do stuff with my friends. Like, King Richard can wait.
Well, look, you're derailing the show now, King Greg. Antwon, back to you, man. What was going on?
Nah, I keep it succinct. So my beef with King Richard is King Richard himself. It's like, if I didn't know that Venus and Serena go on to be like super successful, like I'd like smack him if I seen him in the street. It's like, yo, the things that he was doing, like after they were where they should have been, like almost like holding them back. It was like weird. And then he became like super self-serving. I don't want to dive all the way into the movie yet because Greg hasn't seen it, but it's just like it opened my eyes to things. And I was like, some stuff you saw early on because I kind of grew up with their story. and saw some of his interviews and stuff, but some of it you're just like, what were you thinking? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I thought
I believe that King Richard is the Joe Jackson of tennis. Is that what's going on here?
look. So
Go
to
ahead.
Antwon's point, I understand what he means, but I would say that I think that he had seen and had been to enough of those juniors tennis matches to see the relationship those girls have with their folks and stuff. And he was like, "Oh, these people are terrible. Like, I don't want them to grow up." He wanted his daughters to be, I guess, as normal as possible while being superstars, if that makes any sense. So I think that's why he did a lot of the stuff that he did. But
Mistaken, but they never went through the junior circuit. They went straight pro, didn't they?
they played a little for a second.
A little bit of it.
Yeah, just a little bit.
They were like pro at like 15, 16, something like that, right?
Venus turned pro at 14, and then Serena, I think, turned pro around 14 too. And
Yeah.
they were hell on wheels from their fourth, man, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's interesting. So what was your beef with Don't Look Up? Because that's gonna come up, I'm sure, later on.
The president. I'll leave it at that. The president. People are coming to you with important news, and it's just like, okay.
Yo,
Meryl Streep killed that joint, yo.
She did.
the president, the way that the president handled it was the most realistic thing about the entire movie.
I know, that's my point. I was like, yo, what are you doing? They're not even a 3-hour wait. Forget about that. Forget about getting charged for food that was free. Forget about that. Just like, man, that's it. That's all you telling me?
She was in that other room. And she was like, I've been thinking about it and I can't get my head. Why would he charge us for free?
Yo, I was cracking up at that.
Oh my gosh. TJ, did you have any beefs with any movies that you saw over the break or any series or anything?
Not really, actually, but I'll go back a little further. I watched this movie on Prime, Jolt, I think.
I think I've seen the thing for that. The previous one. No?
Don't, man. It started off okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they took one giant leap into the idiot zone. And then they said, "Oh, while we're here, I guess we might as well just set up camp and just go ahead and just run in circles in the idiot zone." It was just really, really poorly done, man. It's like, I think it might have been an original for that streaming service, and they gave themselves 2 stars or something like that.
It doesn't get worse than that. It's like, this is our movie. Don't watch it.
Don't.
I give myself an amen.
A real board meeting. They're like, I love what we've done here, but if I'm honest with myself, I give this 2 stars. I'm being honest with myself.
I had to give them 5 marks for that part.
That's an internal beef, like freaking Ted and stupid ideas.
The premise was kind of interesting, but they just went in a direction that just didn't. It was just way overboard, man. It wasn't even close to being believable anymore. It's like, it starts off with a premise. You're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I wonder where this is gonna go. And then 25 minutes later, you go, man, maybe I'm going too far at this point. I might as well finish it out, but I don't think that they're going to impress me anymore. I'm just going to ride it out. And that's kind of what happened. Just rode it to the end and turned it off and, felt a little dirty afterwards, actually, to be honest with you. Felt a little...
This is called Jolt, Jolt, Jolt.
Yeah.
I'm going to peep this, Amazon.
Yeah. I understand what you mean, feeling dirty.
I got one more that I got to do a beef with, and it's not because of the movie. The movie's just fine. It's okay. It was Red Notice, and it wasn't because of Wonder Woman being in it, and it wasn't because of The Rock. It wasn't even because of Ryan Reynolds, but it is because of Ryan Reynolds. Because I'm like, how many lives does Ryan Reynolds have in this Hollywood game? Like he's walking white privilege when it comes to that. Like he's got more white privilege than Robert Downey Jr. when he got Iron Man and Sherlock Holmes. No shade to Robert Downey because he killed both of those, but I'm like, yo, how is Ryan Reynolds still in this game to where he can get like a script like this, yo? How can he get there?
And first off, you know how Ryan Reynolds is. He's a very handsome, charming dude. That's really it. Like who hates Ryan Reynolds? No one hates Ryan Reynolds. You don't hate Ryan Reynolds.
Look, I don't like him, yo. I don't like him because he keeps getting canceled. He cares less about anything that I gotta say. I'm positive, but I'm just.
Ryan Reynolds is the same with my thing with Keanu Reeves. It's not that I dislike Keanu Reeves. It's just like, how does this dude with this talent get this level of movie?
Keanu Reeves never made Green Lantern. All right, like he never made Green Lantern.
You said what now?
I said Keanu Reeves never made Green Lantern.
Green Lantern was trash.
He made Bill and Ted.
Yo, yeah, but everybody liked Bill and Ted though.
Fair enough. But he's done several Dookie projects. Okay?
Ryan Reynolds has done only Dookie projects. Only. Like I was like Safe House.
Look, very true.
I was trying to name movies. I was like Safe House, and I was like,
no, he's done a couple joints. It was alright. I mean, Waiting, he was great in that joint. He did a good job in the Deadpool.
That was funny. Waiting was cool.
Yo, he had to write. He wrote Deadpool and he did all this other stuff in Deadpool. But I'm like, yo, you should not have been able to do that after his resume is trash.
He's not.
I'm not saying he's a trash. I'm not saying he's a trash actor. I'm not saying he's not talented. We all know he's handsome. But I mean, like, come on.
Women love him. He does chick flicks, and they're believable because it's right.
He has another trash project out, the one where he's like in a video game thing or whatever like that. I can't even. It's so bad I can't even remember the name of it. But you've seen advertisement for. Yeah.
He's done some real stickers. Who's that? R.I.P.D.
Look at yourself. Like I gotta do like Usher, man. Look at yourself. You know what I'm saying? See it, man.
Hey, who was the co-star in R.I.P.D.? I think I saw that. Was that?
It could have been a real ghost. I never saw it. All I saw was a trailer. It was never. I was like, this is a bad idea.
I saw it. It was.
The only thing clever about it was actually the name. I was like, that's a clever name. And then I was like, nah.
That's, you know what? And that's what it seems like. It seems like someone came up with a name and like, that's really cool. And then they just threw horseshit around it to make the thing work.
And you know what they said? You know what we could do? We can give this to Ryan Reynolds.
And they're like,
I don't know.
That's what you do when you have something that's bad, and you like, we need someone who's got a fan base to get behind this. There's like 3 people you can call. Ryan Reynolds, he can get some asses in the seat no matter how garbage it is.
No, he can't.
What's that other girl? Melissa McCarthy, she can put him in the seat and no matter how garbage the movie is. And Tyler Perry. Those are the only people that can put out consistent trash and everyone watches.
Speaking of that, yo, Sandra Bullock made another movie. And I have a beef with that one. The one that I'm wondering if y'all saw it. It's the one on Netflix, yo.
The box or the other one, the most recent one where she's in jail.
No, not Bird Box.
The another one.
Yeah, the new joint.
Yeah, the newer joint.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna talk about it. We can talk about that.
Give me the beef.
I'm not even gonna bother with it.
My only beef was like, I was like, people really riding like that for this type of stuff? And you'll know what I mean when you watch it. I'm like, people aren't really.
This one when she got out of jail or something?
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
I saw.
Yeah, I know the premise.
Okay.
Yep, there was the one where she was Tupac. She was like, I fresh out of jail, California dreaming, But I was just, I was like, people aren't riding for this like that, man. People don't ride like that. When you see it, you know what I mean. I was like, are they really doing that though? Are they? I was like that. But
you can tell me off air because I'm not gonna watch it. So
sure, I'll do that.
You don't want to ruin it for these two fellas that are gonna waste an hour and a half of their time.
It's not a bad movie. It's just I just have a beef with the movie. It's not a bad movie.
Look, man, I'm not a Sandra Bullock is not what I'm trying to sit there and watch. I'm sorry. She's not since Speed. Like
Yo, man, shout out to Sandra Bullock. Yo, she's a Maryland native. Yo, shout out to Sandra Bullock, man.
Oh,
So, anyway.
Well, you know what? The net was dope. She did a good job in that joint.
You went back to the net to say that she did something good?
I had to. She gave me no choice.
Wow, she's got a record like Ryan Reynolds, which she did a movie with, by the way.
Exactly.
Anyway, so, look, anyway, like I was saying. No. So now we're gonna do our best of the break. We'll do 3
Hold
movies
on.
that we saw.
I got
Oh, you still got beef?
Yeah, I never even told you my beef.
I thought I gave you an opportunity. You know what? Go ahead, man. What's your beefs, man?
Okay. Look, I'm not even gonna take long. Y'all need to go back and look at the original 1984 Red Dawn. That's all I'm gonna say. It is riddled in horseshit. Just sprinkled all over the movie set. Just horseshit upon a horseshit. It is the worst.
I got 6 words for you, Greg. Not going to be able to do it.
It is garbage plot. It is just unimaginably bad when it comes to realism, because it's one of those movies where they're trying to make it feel realistic and everything else. It's like, no, there's no way any of this would happen, and there's no way this would happen to. All right, let me just understand my beef. I'm just gonna give you a small part of what my problem is. First off, I think it's either the Venezuelan army or the Russian army, whatever. They just parachute in on high school, on a high school in the middle of.
It wasn't the North Korean army? Is that the new one?
Yeah, the new one's North Korea.
Oh, okay.
But they just parachuted in, right? Just on some sneak attack shit. Like just out the blue. Within 3 days, they had whole tanks, like in the downtown square. I'm like, where the hell did these tanks come from? And how did they get there? It
was Russia. Russia was the one who did it.
They took over a whole town and had difficulty taking on 6 teenage boys and 2 girls. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, how do you sneak whole tanks past the U.S. government and you can't handle 6 kids that hunted once in the summers?
Wait a second. What are you trying to say? Militia, you know?
Yeah.
They were well regulated, Greg.
Hey, Greg, was Ryan Reynolds one of the kids?
Sandra Bullock was one of the girls.
Sandra Bullock was one of the girls. Ryan Reynolds, Keanu Reeves, and Robert Downey Jr.
Yo, there will be no Keanu slayer. Don't put Keanu in there, man. Don't put Keanu in there. The goal of this show, you know what? I want the goal of this show to be where we get big enough to where Keanu Reeves like guest spots on here.
Look, man. First off,
over all his movies.
I would actually insult Keanu Reeves. To be honest, he's a great dude. What I'm saying is the level of movies he's getting. And you know what? This is all Will Smith's fault. This is Will Smith's fault that Keanu Reeves is who he is. Let's just be honest. If Will Smith would have did The Matrix, there's no Keanu Reeves career right now.
Yo, look, listen, the slander has gone far enough. There will be, you will not Jada Will right now. You're not going to do it. I'm not going to allow this to happen. You're just not going to allow it.
First off, I would never do that to Will. All right? That's one.
That's fair. You know what, Charlie Murphy, I went too far. I was having too much fun.
If Will Smith decides to be the Matrix, I don't think Keanu Reeves is doing what he's doing right now. That's a huge favor.
Yo, Keanu Reeves had plenty of classics before that, man. Plenty.
He has an impeccable catalog, but
Yo, I was just saying, like, he's got an impeccable catalog. Like, he had hits before Matrix. Like, you acting like the Matrix.
He had Speed.
Nah, man, he had Speed. He had Devil's Advocate. He had Chain Reaction. This is just stuff I'm naming off the top of my head.
I'll give you Speed and Devil's Advocate. No one cares about Chain Reaction.
Bill and Ted. That's true.
No one cares about Bill and Ted. They Bill and Ted. It's a joke movie.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? That's like a classic across the board. Yeah.
It got
people, but nobody cares.
Yo, relax, man. Don't be bringing that Teen Wolf during the show.
Teen Wolf stinks.
Hey, relax, man. Yo, you know what, man? Yo, we're moving on. You derailing the show. All right, now, best of the
Go
break.
back and watch Red Dawn.
Nobody's watching Red Dawn. Best,
He did like your father before you.
best of the break. I want everybody to think of their top 3 movies that they saw during the break. It can be, you can throw in the series too if you watch the series. I just want you guys to visualize, attack what it was over the break that did it. TJ, you sat here and just laughed at everybody, so I'll have you go first. So,
All right, just list all 3, or
yeah, you can put them in order if you want to, but you don't have to. You can just say 3.
all right. The 3 that I'm gonna tell you guys were the most memorable, and I guess I'm gonna say that they were the best that I watched because the premise behind it was different. You know, it was interesting. And I listed them before. I'll just list them again. So one of them is An Inspector Calls, and since you guys haven't seen it, I'll give you a very, very quick rundown. So there's a well-to-do family. I don't remember if it was in England. I'm pretty sure it was England now I think about it. And the daughter was getting married to this other prominent businessman's son. So basically you've got 2 business tycoons that are competing with each other, and now their kids are gonna get married, right? So they're basically gonna become Walmart or something because of this marriage. Anyway, this is set, maybe 100 and something years ago. So, society is quite a bit different than it is now. You had sweatshops and stuff like that, and the women had a difficult time working. Anyway, the whole movie is about this inspector that comes to the house to report that a young woman has been, she's deceased, right? Now, she wasn't murdered or anything. She ended up killing herself. But that inspector basically was laying out how everybody in that household had something to do with her suicide. So like the father, she worked in the factory where he was. She was fighting for women's rights to get more money. He fires her, right?
As any good father would.
Right. So, I mean, just on and on, like the son had gotten her pregnant or whatever, and she couldn't support it. She couldn't find work after she was fired. Well, she found another job, and the daughter was just on one that day, and she got upset with her because she was trying to. I guess she was serving her, like showing her the dresses and stuff. She didn't like her because she was prettier than her. She gets her in trouble. She gets fired. Everything in her life, she just keeps getting knocked down further and further and further. And it turns out that everybody in there were the reasons for her, every I guess negative step and every bad thing that happened to her, until ultimately she ended up taking her life and that of her unborn child as well. Now the head of the household is actually good friends with the police chief or whatever, and then at the end he ends up calling the police chief and talking about this inspector that came in there. I don't want to say pushing everybody around, making everybody feel bad about what happened to this girl. And it turns out that the guy is not really employed with the police department. Maybe, I don't know if he's like some kind of angelic figure or something like that. But it was just interesting, like the way that they laid the story out and how everybody somehow touched this woman's life and led her to her suicide. So I thought it was an interesting story. And then at the end, of course, to find out that he's not who they think he was, like the main character, the inspector, was also kind of interesting. The Synchronic one with Anthony Mackie is the other one that I'll give credence to, because that was a very, very different idea. So Synchronic is a drug. It's a man-made drug. And what was happening to people is that they would take this drug and they ended up going back in time, and they would be back in time for 7 minutes, right? And where you were physically impacted where you ended up getting sent back to. So there were people taking this drug and disappearing and stuff, because if you don't get back to the same spot where you arrived, then you get stuck back in that time period. So anyway, Anthony Mackie, he actually has like a brain tumor of some kind, And this is important as well. That drug really messes you up if you're past a certain age. Apparently, as a kid, your brain has the ability to bounce back, so you can actually come back to the present. Like some older people that take it, they get stuck. Anthony Mackie had some kind of brain tumor, so he was able to take the stuff and go back in time and keep coming back. The reason why he did that is because his best friend's daughter was one of these disappeared people, because I guess she didn't get back to the place where she was supposed to get. So he's, like a lot of the movie, he's trying to figure out how to rescue her. So he's going different places where he thought that she went and taking that drug. And he's the one that figured out what was happening to people. So he went and he bought a bunch of it because they were getting it off the streets because of what was happening. So he went and he bought a bunch of it, and every time he took one, he had to take a chance. I tell you what, as a black man, you do not want to be traveling back in time. Okay, it shows exactly all the reasons that you're thinking about right now. All of that happened. Okay, he was like,
I might go back to like 86. 86.
Well, he went back a bit further than that. And the issue that I had was she ended up where she was stuck was in Civil War, maybe something like that. Civil War time, or maybe it was Revolutionary War or something like that. So he ends up saving her, but he got injured and he couldn't get back to the spot. So he's stuck back in that time. But I mean, the only save that I kind of hated the way that it ended, but the only saving is that brain tumor won't be alive for too much longer to suffer in that time period.
He wouldn't be alive too long.
Say that one more time.
I said he ain't gonna be alive too much longer in that time anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
I was gonna think it's for one person to say something crazy, he might be Nat Turner. Like,
that is a dope idea for a movie, Greg.
You can't talk to a 2000 Negro like that. That's insane.
You surprised somebody crack you with a whip. How much? Anyway.
Get in line. You're derailing them, Greg.
The absolute worst slave that has ever been. I would have been dead immediately.
Yeah. He's probably heading down there as well.
Yeah. I'd have been done.
He won't do. He and his best friend were EMTs, actually.
Oh, wow.
But he got to see up close and personal what these drugs and stuff were doing to people. So when he found out his friend's daughter took it, he was, obviously keen on trying to save her. So, I mean, it was an interesting idea. I hadn't seen a movie like that before. The ending was kind of crappy for me because, I was invested in him, not his best friend's daughter, but it is what it is.
I give that nigga 5 minutes to accidentally read.
Let him. Quit the rap segment.
I missed what he said. Say it again.
Man, go, man.
Huh?
I said go, TJ. It's great.
I didn't hear what you said.
I give that nigga 5 minutes before he accidentally reads something that ends up dead.
He's probably gonna die where he was if you saw. Well, if you get a chance to watch the movie, you'll see what we're talking about. He's
DJ, where's it streaming at?
Netflix.
Bet.
If you can find it, I've been having the damnedest time finding stuff that was out there before. But anyway, let me hurry up with my last one so you guys can get to it. I apologize for taking so much time. Last one is Unthinkable with Samuel L. Jackson. Like I had mentioned before, he was an interrogator, and I really like that. Everybody's got all these highfalutin ideas about. Well, what is it in Glengarry Glen Ross? It says, if they did this to me, I would do this, right? Well, what do you do now? Someone's trying to break your rice bowl, right? I mean, when it comes down to it, can you do what is necessary to get the end result? I mean, this movie was really all about that. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson was willing to go all the way, and all these people that say that they would be willing to go all the way, when it's time to really do, really get your hands dirty, there's lines that they wouldn't cross. So in the end, I think they ended up losing. They didn't say if the nuke actually went off, but it was kind of implied that they didn't go all the way, so that other guy won because he was willing to go. Again, it was a very, very different take on, I guess they have movies like that, but never do you see somebody that has the drive of Samuel L. Jackson's character. I hadn't seen that unless you want to go to like Jack Bauer or something like that. You don't normally see that in movies, but
yeah, Man on Fire is the closest comp I had.
Peace.
Yeah, Kreese was willing to go all the way. So
he's like, oh, Armin died, huh? Yeah. That's my three.
Greg,
nice.
man, what were your best of the break?
Best of the break would probably have to be. I'll start with True Story, with the Kevin Hart joint. One, I mean, you got to give it to Kevin Hart. Some people don't really mess with Kevin Hart like that. I've never had a problem with him. But as far as him transitioning from being just a straight comedian, laugh, jokey dude to moving into dramatic roles, Kevin can act, man. Kevin did a great job in there. And of course, Wesley Snipes. I'm so glad that Wesley Snipes is back. The reemergence of Wesley Snipes. Wesley did a great job playing a real piece of shit. He did a great job. He did an amazing job with that whole thing. But like I said, the only problem that I have with it is if you give it just a half a second of thought, you'll figure out what's going on within the first 5 minutes. But it doesn't detour from the rest of the story. Everyone in there did a really, really good job. It's a very solid show. And I hope that they end it here and don't try and make like another season of it. I hope they just leave it where it's at and don't ruin this. But if y'all haven't seen it, you should check that joint out. You know what? I had to go back and watch this movie because of the other movie that I watched, and I watched Idiocracy. Idiocracy, I'll tell you right now, this Idiocracy, I'm just gonna go ahead and just push them all together, get this whole thing out the way. Between Idiocracy and Don't Look Up, both of these movies are almost prophecies of what is going on right now. It is amazing how ridiculous these movies are, and at the same time, how realistic they are. I mean, they're pushing stuff a little overboard to a level of ridiculousness, but it's so close and adjacent to what is happening in the world right now that it's just amazing. So if you get a chance, I don't know if there's a way to tie them together, but you can watch both of those movies at the same time and then watch the news and then understand how real both these movies are, but in the funniest way. And even with Don't Look Up, it's not even really funny. It has funny parts, but it's not funny. You know what I'm saying? These are real problems. You know what I'm saying? And the way that they broke these things down and made you look at the ridiculous and made you look at real stuff in a ridiculous way, that almost so you're comfortable with it, but it also makes you think, man, we're in some actual trouble. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's political, but it's not political. You know what I mean? It's great satire for what's actually going on today. And the thing that's even more remarkable with that is Idiocracy came out, 20 years ago, something like that?
Yeah.
It's been out there.
They were spot on, because we are getting stupider by the minute. As a whole, we're just a pack of wild dummies running around here.
Antwon, your best of the break.
Yeah, for sure. So looking at my list here, I'll start with my number 3 would be King Richard. So I think, in short, there's nothing that can ever be substituted, especially if you have kids, for instilling confidence in them and helping them to see things through, even if they don't quite see it in themselves, right away. Building with them, showing them the importance of that, teaching them how to be focused, helping them to recognize things in their environment and be able to grow. I mean, there's a lot of great themes that happen there, a lot of things of what not to do. Whether you see the partnership between Venus and Rena's, mother and father, where you see the individual ways they approach their kids and what they want for them and how they want them to grow and develop. I just thought it's an excellent, excellent film across the board. My number 2 is gonna have to be, you know what? I'm looking at my list right now. I'm just like, I'm gonna say Spider-Man: No Way Home. As my number 2, and you'll understand why in a minute. So again, many years of waiting.
Don't go too far into this, man. I haven't seen it yet.
No. I'm very top. I'm keeping it very top level.
I promised other people I'd wait to go see it with them, and other people are just way too busy apparently to go see stuff. I'm just
spoiler free, Greg. Spoiler free. So
I know
basically,
one spoiler: Mary Jane is black. Now.
just 20 years, a culmination of work. I love seeing things play out over time, and being here to be able to see how it finishes up is phenomenal. So I'll leave it at that with Spider-Man: No Way Home. But Don't Look Up is my number 1 for everything that Greg said about it. I think that it was a movie that was excellent in showcasing how something so serious gets lost in the world because people aren't really paying attention to it, and they aren't paying attention.
It is stupid.
That too. A lot of that. It really highlights the stupidity of people even today, and it mirrors where we are as a world. And I just think that it's very interesting to see how everybody's stupid up until, the end. And literally, it's people literally screaming at you, hey, this is what's happening. This is what we need to do. And not so serious. You go back to even like and I'm trying to keep it topical here in case somebody hasn't seen it, but like the TV studio where they were there with Kate Blanchett and Tyler Perry, where they were going to go on with them for the little segment. And
shout out to Tyler Perry. He did a great job in this movie. For the short time he did it, he murdered that joint. I give him his props on that.
That's a fact. And I was cracking up because I'm like, the little Booker dude is like, oh yeah, you guys are here to talk science. And they're like, no. What's her name? Jennifer Lawrence is like, do they know why we're here? And Ariana Grande is like, oh, I have a tattoo of a comet on my back. Oh, it's so dope. And it's like, whoa, you guys really don't know why we're here, do you? So it's just great in showing how, something very important gets lost in the world of just basically being like, we don't give a fuck. You know what? We want to be oblivious to it. There's some people who are literally just stupid, and there's some people who know kind of the magnitude of what you're saying, but they're like, what are the chances of this really happening? So it's...
But see, here's the thing. It wasn't even that they were oblivious. They knew what was going on, and they opted to, A, politicize it, and then B, try and get paid off it. Like, it is so American. It's so American. It could have just... It's more American than baseball and slavery. Like, it is one of the most American.
Even arrogance, yeah.
Yeah, the level of arrogance.
Like what they tried to do with the mining of the, trying to keep it out. I'm like, what?
We can make the mines too. Right. You call me a businessman? Or he's like a white Elijah Muhammad.
Oh yeah, wow, yeah, that, yeah.
Here's the dope part. The dopest part about the whole thing is the genius in the way that they did the whole part with the president. You didn't really know what party that she was affiliated with. You had no idea. It was like if Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton had a baby, and that's who that character was.
That's who Meryl Streep was, yeah.
Yeah, and the way that they, like, nobody said Democrat, Republican, nothing. You had no idea who it was, which in some cases, I mean, you get up to a certain level, then it doesn't matter if you're corrupt, you're corrupt. Political parties be damned.
It's a family show. Anyway.
But you saw, though, the stupidity of mankind, actually, when at the very, very end, when they kind of, get where they're going and they land and whatever, and they're out there like, look at this, like, I want one of these. And it's like, oh yeah, how about that? And next thing you know, they're kind of surrounded and everything like that. It's just, am I talking post-credit scene here?
Yeah.
If I'm correct? Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah, it was indicative of a lot. So yeah, I'll pass it on to, go ahead, Aj. Yeah.
TJ, go ahead. You were about to say something.
Can one of y'all explain to me why they had all them old fogies out there to try to repopulate the? I was like, what are you doing? I mean,
because they had all the money, TJ. It's like what you always say.
That is what I always say. You don't make any sense for them to send them there.
Like they're not repopulating anything.
Yeah, not only are they not repopulating anything, but all that money, what does it mean on that new planet? It means absolutely nothing.
No.
It means nothing. There's not a
foreign event.
So
none of it means anything.
But Greg, that's why I've always liked, and I can get off the list now because I've said my spiel here. Let me talk free. So I've always liked alien movies, right? And zombie flicks, because all of the things that divide people, it throws it out the window. You know what I'm saying? Like we make that, oh, we have the most money, but we have the most this or that. What happens when it's just like Animal Kingdom? If you've ever watched like National Geographic and shit, like the gazelle, the lion, the hunter, the hunted, all of that, that's really what it kind of boils down to. So when they got to the new planet, they didn't think about any of that. They were thinking like, oh yeah, this is like going to be a petting zoo and we'll do this and that. They thought nothing of what is this new world and what is that world going to be potentially, And the worst part about it is what somebody just mentioned. Everybody was old. Like
yes,
you don't stand a chance in any regard. It's interesting.
So I'll do my best.
Their sports are stink. I only saw like one black dude on the whole thing. Their sports is gonna be terrible.
All right, man. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and give mine. Okay, I'm gonna give mine. All right. So look, I'll do my three. So my three, I didn't want to necessarily rank them, but the more people were talking, the more I got a chance to rank them. So my number 3 is 8-Bit Christmas. I know that everybody didn't get a chance to see it.
I saw it. It's a great movie.
It is this generation's Christmas story.
Yeah,
I could see where very easily it would become something where they show it every year, every Christmas. And I think for sure that I'm gonna have it watched every Christmas. My wife actually, I wouldn't say she had to convince me to watch this movie, but I had it in my head where I was like, maybe we'll watch it. But we did a Christmas movie marathon, and that was her pick for the Christmas movie marathon, and I'm grateful to her for it. And Doogie Howser killed that joint. It was good. It was a great movie. If I had to go with number 2, I would go with Don't Look Up for all the obvious reasons. That movie absolutely killed. With the everything about that was so on point. Specifically how petty people can be, and how petty some of the things are that we arguing about and what we do. Like I had mentioned before, he's the Secretary of Defense. Why would he charge me for snacks out of the White House? it was like stuff like that really made me chuckle throughout the movie. It was like little stuff like that. The fact that he was like, aren't you like her son or something? And he was like, yo, shut up. And people was like, nah, he's this. And then later in that same discussion, she said something. He's like, all right, Mom. I was like, what? Wait a minute. So she really is his mother. So it was like just really funny stuff like that. And it was super tragic that they had just been telling people. I think the most poignant part of that whole movie, outside of when they started turning around and my man was like, nah, it's a maneuver from I was in the Navy. And the dude was like, nah, they're turning around. Outside of that being real poignant. The other part that really got me was at the end when the black newscaster was on there, people were running out and he had the green screen and he was just sitting there and he was just like, we just didn't believe it was gonna happen. And it was like, they had been trying to tell you, but it was, hell or high water, it came anyway. Last but not least, my number 1, accuse me, okay? Call me a webhead, right? Sit there and say that I'm biased towards Spider-Man. Go on and do it. But I had told everybody months ago, okay, that he would have the best of the Marvel series. I told him. Who's hungry now? Who's hungry now? You see what I'm saying? Look, this movie, if you haven't seen it, I wouldn't say it's my number 1 superhero movie of all time. I think I'm still giving it up to The Dark Knight for that. But man, did it crash into my top 5. Like this joint, it might be better than Infinity War. Might be.
Whoa. Let's not get blasphemous.
I said it might be. It might be. I think it's better than Black Panther. I'll say that, which is ironic.
I wouldn't argue that.
Yeah. I was like, which is ironic. Anyway, so no, but it's Spider-Man 3 was very, very good.
See, my plan with this one is I'm gonna watch all 3 in a row.
Oh, it's dope. I went back and watched the other 2. I actually got on just a Spider-Man kick. I watched the other 2 not yesterday, but a little bit earlier this week, and thought about the third one. I was like, man, this kid, man. That's why I love Spider-Man. He's got the best story. So it's just, that's just long story short. So anyway, man, that's all for HollyHood. Next time, you jerks, I'm actually going to be able to preview and say we are going to do watching of Dawn of the Dead, 2004 version, recommended by Antwon. So tell them next time. You said what?
So what's that streaming on?
Oh, what's streaming on? Stars. It's on Stars. Stars and Bar. Whoa, God, that's racist. All right, I'm out of here.